You can see a young man wearing a typical Chinese warrior costume in ancient times facing a monster lion. He looks very eager to kill the enemy. He then jumped to attack the monster and he easily defeated him. All right, hero, you have defeated me. This beautiful princess is mine now. Then appeared a beautiful princess, who then appeared wearing clothes that were quite charming and also very seductive. Our young man, who is actually a hikikomori, was very impressed with the scene he saw. Turns out it was all nothing but the game he was playing. He got very excited watching the erotic scenes that appeared on his computer screen, because it was for that reason he had leveled up the game all along. He then drooled just by looking at it, and his saliva then made his computer short-circuit. He was electrocuted afterwards, and suddenly he mysteriously disappeared. Then on the other side of the world, to an abandoned burial hill, there are two assholes trying to seduce a girl. As it turned out, that girl was none other than the person who had appeared in the game the young man had previously played. She was a virgin girl who cried because she was abandoned by her master. Meanwhile, the two bastards finally got impatient. They already wanted to do bad things to the girl, and suddenly, someone fell from the sky. The two bastard men were shocked to see him, and one man then dived into the ground very ridiculously. The three of them could only be silent at this ridiculous incident. A man who had just fallen down immediately got up with grass in his mouth. What the hell? What really happened there? Where is my princess? Our young man finally found the daughter's master crying for him. You two bastards! How dare you try to steal my princess? He became very angry, and the two men were then very surprised to see him, because they were sure if before had buried the man in the hills. They were confused as to why he could live again, and they then took out their swords, intending to kill him again. Just like them, this young man was also confused. He looked dazed, but the two bastard men then immediately attacked him. Someone then slashed his sword, but the young man was able to dodge it using light movements. His eyes were bulging because he just realized that this bastard man seriously wanted to kill him. But isn't this too realistic? This is not like in the game world. It looks very real. When even young men started to panic. Weren't you so arrogant? Let me see where you will run later, said a jerk man. Oh, let's talk about this for a second. The young man was getting more and more panicked, but the two bastards didn't listen to him. The two of them then raised their swords, and the young man immediately begged for mercy, asking them to love him. The next moment the man released his sword, but suddenly a strange armor then fell from the sky. Seeing that, the young man became very surprised, because the armor was none other than the equipment that belonged to the game. He became flustered, because it suddenly appeared, and a system sound then sounded. The current user has met the requirements of supramaterial art. The system has been unlocked. A player profile screen then appeared. It turned out that this young man's name was Zhao Feng, a level 0 human race without any skills. In short, he is still a beginner, but the system then offered him a starter gift package. Of course, Zhao Feng immediately received the package, and he immediately rose to become a Star Martial disciple. Also gained 1 point in lucky status and got the Slater throwing martial skill, and received the trial set of God's armor for 1 minute. Wow! With the system in my hands, I will be very overpowered. Zhao Feng is very satisfied what happened. Where did the boy go? The two bastards were confused, and Zhao Feng then suddenly appeared in front of them. He's wearing a full set of God's armor along with his sword, damn it! How did you get so overpowered all of a sudden? The two bastards cried out in fear. But Zhao Feng didn't care either. He then swung his sword, and the two bastards were then thrown into the sky like a huge home run. Seeing that, the woman cried very deeply because her master was extraordinary. Not long after, the system then gave successive announcements. Zhao Feng obtained the Supreme Art System Supreme, the new skill attribute 10 Meridian Defense World, and received 400 XP and 40 aura points, and leveled up to become a 3rd-star martial art disciple. Alright, suppressing the mob is for the best, Zhao Feng said, very, very satisfied. Shortly after, the system then announced that the effects of the God armor had ended. The armor then disappeared by itself, and Zhao Feng became disappointed because he had not finished enjoying his overpowered power. On the other side, the woman then immediately ran to him crying, very happy to see him okay or anything. She then hugged him, and a lewd face appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Like, is this a girl's touch? It feels so good, he said. Zhao Feng then asked the woman not to worry anymore. I will take care of you from now on, and you will never suffer hardship again, said Zhao Fang like a cool guy. But we have to go back to Zhao Fang's residence. Where do you want to go now? While looking dazed, and Zhao Fang then replied, if he wants to go to Julin Mountain first, to increase the level. 10 days quickly passed after that, and at the Zhao family residence a glass was thrown and shattered, because the young master looked very angry, because the rest of the money never returned. Young master still goes to Squint Mountain and hard to find. He was only a 3-star martial artist. If he stepped into Squint Mountain, he would definitely die. Someone reported how it was. Even if the insect died, there must be a corpse. Hurry and find him. Mr. Zhao then lifts Zhao's clothes and he becomes scared. One of his brothers then immediately left. Therefore, while young Master Zhao was laughing, he was very pleased that young master's position was in front of his eyes. From the way he spoke, it seemed that he was also a young master of the Zhao family, and thus he did not wish to be rivaled by him. On Juling Mountain, and saw Zhao Fang practicing. He cut the fallen leaves, slashed his sword to the left and right, looking very good at playing it, seeing it was very great. He was momentarily stunned, and Zhao Fang then arrogantly said that it was just an ordinary technique. Within those 10 days, they also then built a small house. Zhao Fang then asked Shan Er to stay as he wanted to continue his practice. Shan Er then just complied and cheered him on. Zhao Fang then began to explore, and on the way his 2 brothers, who were up in the tree, finally saw him. Soji then asked Sode to immediately report to the young master, and so, they then dispersed without Zhao Fang's knowledge. However, they didn't do anything particularly suspicious, so let's just ignore them. 3 days passed quickly after. Zhao Fang then found a tiny rabbit, and he then immediately chased it. The rabbit was very surprised to see his ridiculous look, and immediately died in an instant. Zhao Fang was confused because he hadn't even touched it yet, and he surmised that maybe it was because his strength was so strong he got 100 XP points from the fire rabbit. Because the host's stench gains 10 points of power, the system beeps, making Zhao Fang disappointed because he expected too much. 4 days quickly passed after that, and on the 7th day, Zhao Fang met many monsters at once. With the skills and Pool's God Sword, Zhao Fang managed to overcome all the monsters easily, and he leveled up very fast. He was very proud of his achievement, and the 3 days quickly flew by. After that, on the 10th day, he met a wolf that looked very ferocious. Zhao Fang then used the 10-got sword skill, and he managed to get 900 XP points, 90 real strength points, and 10 sword skills from killing him. Alright, this way my cultivation will increase rapidly, and when I return to the Zhao family, I will kill that group of bastards, said Zhao, who had already advanced to 9 stars. He then hunted monsters again as usual, and suddenly the system then informed him that there was a heavenly treasure up ahead. Without thinking, Zhao Fang then immediately ran and threw all the monsters nearby with a face that was indescribably happy. Arriving at the location, he also found a shiny mushroom. Zhao Fang then immediately took the mushroom, hoping to get a lot of XP from eating it. However, the system then tells it if unfortunately the host's current level is too low for it to eat. Actually, it can be replaced by using Supreme Coins. But Zhao Fang feels that it would be a shame to have to use Supreme Coins. His Supreme Coins are limited because he himself enters any game. Zhao Fang then still took the mushroom to store first, and the system then alerted him that the 3-headed black wolf boss had appeared. Damn, don't bother me collecting treasures, Zhao Fang said, ignoring the system's warning. Not long after that, a monster then actually came. Zhao Fang panicked, and right when he looked at the monster, his eyes almost popped out from the shock. Sure enough, it was a huge 3-headed wolf monster. The wolf then hit with his hand, but Zhao Fang managed to dodge. Hey, 3 big heads, try this. Zhao Fang also activated standard tempo, turning to face the huge wolf. He then dashed, slashing 3 slashes at once, and the end that was starting to tire itself, because the wolf monster was still surviving. What's worse, it wasn't hurt at all. Gosh, I couldn't beat him. Zhao Fang screamed, very panicked knowing that, and he then issued his flagship move, namely lightning steps. He immediately ran away very scared, but in the middle of the road he tripped over rocks. He fell very ridiculously, while the wolf then immediately chased him. The system then offered him to use his lucky number to avoid danger, and Zhao Fang then told the system to consume it immediately. Exactly a moment later, a light then shot right between the wolf beast, and Zhao Fang of the second tier became flustered. "You beast killer!" A girl then appeared. The girl then immediately took off running to attack the wolf monster, and she managed to roast one of its heads very quickly. The wolf then ran away, but the girl immediately chased him. "Damn, she is so pretty and playful. This is my ideal type of wife." Zhao Fang became fascinated, while the wolf monster then ate the mushroom he left behind. Zhao Fang also cried because of the treasure he had just taken, while the girl in red then immediately stopped the wolf. She then shot out a spiritual power that sent the wolf blowing quite a distance. But quickly the wolf stood up again. His severed head then began to grow again, and the system sounded a danger warning because the black wolf was in the process of evolution. "He's evolving, we have to leave him behind," Zhao Fang warned the girl. But the girl told him to be quiet. The girl then activated the 10,000 yuan ability. She then swung her sword, and then the spiritual power shot right after. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the wolf monster finally managed to evolve. Now it has 4 heads, and it then launches 4 shots at once. They clashed afterwards, resulting in a very strong vibration, and the wolf's attacks continued to shoot straight. After the girl's attack exploded in strength, the wolf became very, very strong, and the girl fell very badly injured. The wolf then ran, intending to finish him off. The girl then tried to run away, but her body could not move because she was badly injured. "She lost. This is bad. Okay, I'll go immediately. Don't go." "She was seriously injured to save you," said the angel. "Moreover, your life is more important," said the devil. "You only know how to run. Aren't you a man, huh? How dare you fight me? Believe it or not, I will catch up to you in an instant." Devil and angel came down, then fist-fighted afterwards, and saw that Zhao Fang without any confusion. "Shut up, you two stopped fighting!" Zhao Fang shouted to stop them, and the system then congratulated them on their success in attracting the 4-headed wolf's attention. "Ah, damn, it's over." Zhao Fang then immediately ran away, throwing the devil and angel at the samosas. The wolf blamed the 2 of them. They both then punched the wolf without any effect, as they were basically just Zhao Fang's thoughts. However, Zhao Fang then immediately ran after her, while the wolf monsters certainly immediately chased him. The system then activates the giant full-set tense protection system automatically without Zhao. The people of the wolves finally managed to get close to Zhao Fang, and the wolf then jumped to pounce on him. But Zhao Fang then reflexively used his hand to defend. Right at that moment, a strange light then appeared from its body, which unexpectedly exploded the wolf. The dust began to settle down, and the wolf monster looked lifeless again. Zhao Fang also looked puzzled. Congratulations to the host for successfully killing the 4-headed purple wolf in the sudden death state, obtaining 100,000 points, XP 10,000 points, true strength, and 10,000 skill points, 10 R caliber. Congratulations to Zhao Fang, the level he reached after becoming an 8-star martial artist. Also congratulations for upgrading, and congratulations on triggering God's lucky city, getting a triple sword kill. Do you want to learn it? Congratulations on getting the best martial art in the world, the lion. Do you want to learn it? The fight was in my favor. Cultivation costs, I got everything, and survived the practice of martial arts, managed to receive the core of the 4-headed wolf, and also he later got a wife after that, defeating the 3-headed wolf. He then remembered that the magic mushrooms were still left. He then immediately took them and exchanged them for supreme coins. The system immediately processed it, and Zhao Fang also got 903 super coins afterwards. But why are the supreme coins not in integers? Zhao Fang said confusedly. For a while, the girl then asked him for help. Did I forget something? Zhao Fang also looked confused. The girl became annoyed because of his behavior. Saved? I'm stupid. She tried to scream out loud, but he didn't hear it. Cultivation practice had already been carried out, gathering beasts in exchange for spirit grass, not to mention that the girl then held his feet. After that made Zhao Fang banish very surprised. He began to intend to worry while the girl then asked for help. He was so badly injured that even Xiao Fang was very surprised, thinking a ghost had come. He then kicked the girl by reflex, and the girl fainted, crashing into a tree. Damn it, looks like something is wrong with that, Xiao Fang thought. Is she dead? Zhao Fang also poked the girl and quickly realized that she was still breathing. But if you think about it, this girl is very beautiful. Good girl. Too bad if you have to die in the wilderness. System. Is there any medicine that can save him? The system then shows some drugs, but all of them are expensive. Zhao Fang then studied screens and finally found one that was quite cheap, namely danger. Without thinking much, he took it because it was the cheapest and it really healed him. What should I do if he runs away? Let's just try. Zhao Fang then put the ginger into the girl's cleavage, and it then started to glow. The girl's wound started to heal very quickly. And finally, she regained consciousness. She opened his eyes slowly, and what she saw first was Zhao Fang's lecherous look, which smelled very bad, and she immediately punched him out of reflex. She then asks if she saved her. Don't you think there's anyone else here? I am a little embarrassed that I am a true disciple of Miao Song, one of the 3 ancestral gates of Liang country. What reward do you want? I will give it to you, said the girl. Is it true that you can really give me anything? Reply that suddenly stuck, and the girl replied, Of course. Well then, I want you to be my wife. Surprised the girl. Zhao Fang then made it clear that saying, if I want you to be my wife and the girl, then teaches her again it's better that no one saves me, and I will die here. Than marrying a shameless person like you? Say the girl. Would I really hear that there are many monsters on this mountain who like to eat human flesh? And sure enough, a bunch of monsters then immediately surround the girl to make her scared. Your body parts will separate and will be bitten everywhere. He scares her too. You won't let me die, will you? The girl and Zhao Fang dumped her. He really left her, and because of that, the girl became scared. Feeling that she had no choice, she then made a promise to Zhao Fang, and at that time Zhao Fang immediately approached asking, Is she serious? Yes, I promise to be your wife, replied the girl, and Zhao Fang was very, very happy. Finally, I have a future wife. I'm not single anymore, he said, and seeing that the girl was very upset. She intends to divorce him later when she recovers. Well, my wife, your husband, is called Xiao Fang, the young master of the tribal family. What is your name and from which family? My name is Qing Yi and I have no family. Master has taken care of me, replied the girl. Don't worry, my wife, I will be your family in the future. Can you see the sincere one? Qing Yi starts to feel that Zhao Fang isn't too bad, but soon after she does, then asks him to take the oath of a martial artist. Damn, I have to kill him. Qing Yi was also very upset about that, but she also had no other choice because she didn't want to die now. She was silent for a moment before finally taking an oath in the name of Heaven Lara to be the wife of Zhao Fang. Thunder then struck as if to be a witness, and the next moment, a bright light then appeared from behind the clouds, illuminating Qing Yi when she declared that she was willing to be hit by 5 lightning and be destroyed without a trace if she violated, and shortly after that, an oath inscription appeared in the sky. It then shot a light at the Zhao Fang and then into their hearts. Anyone who was confused then asked, what was that? And Qing Yi replied that it meant that they were officially married and recognized by heaven. Knowing that, Zhao Fang then cried because he finally had a wife. He then ran around like a fool and saw that even Qing Yin just laughed. All right, wife, hold on a second. I'll give you a healing pill. Zhao Fang then ran somewhere, leaving Qing Yi, who was confused. A moment after, he came back with a strange ball that he called Bird of Life. What medicine is that? Do you want me to die quickly? She was screaming and her head was suddenly very dizzy. Zhao Fang also realized that it was because the effect of the medicine had run out. He panicked, and because of that he didn't think much longer. He jumped and then widened Bird offline, resulting in a huge explosion. The next moment, Shin's clothes became transparent, and Zhao Fangpun's belongings woke up naturally. Amazingly, it was not in vain that I used 499 coins for it, he said. While all wounds do heal afterward, this is for the best. Zhao Fang stared at her without blinking. Bastard, I didn't allow you to see it. Change my clothes. Qing Yi also activated her Qing Yi, and her new clothes were ready, and after that, Zhao Fang immediately approached her. In high tension, he asked her to come home soon. But suddenly, Shin away, my wife, what's wrong with you? Then thanked him for saving him, and explained that if the distance between us was too big, if he knew he would be in danger. Excuse me. Qing Yi then turned around and left. The distance was too big. He says, "Okay, wait for me when my level is enough. I will go to Ancestral Temple and bring you back." Zhao Feng made up her mind, and meanwhile Xingyin Wei suddenly cried when she saw her, and came out sorry words from her mouth. He also became eager to upgrade fast, maybe for the sake of getting his wife back. He also taught all the monsters around him, even killing a very strong green-headed tiger. Unknowingly, he also got 9,000 XP points, and so on from the monster, and then he also killed the cloud python, which was on the same level as the previous monster. It wasn't enough to stop there. Zhao Feng then continued to hunt the monsters without mercy, and finally 1 week passed quickly. How many levels have I got now? Zhao Fengyang curiously opened the status of how to find that he had raised the military level by 1 star. Zhao Feng was satisfied that he had improved a lot, and he immediately rushed back to see his wife, making the bastard monsters finally go. Zhao Feng finally came home. He then entered with great enthusiasm and became very surprised. The condition was very messy. He also got a bad feeling, and sure enough, a group of people had surrounded him from behind. Of course it's bad. How come the little bastard finally showed up too? I've been choking in this place for 10 days. It's because of you had to die. Take the head of this little insect. We will get a big valuable prize, said the bunch of jerks. He was clearly furious, and meanwhile a bunch of assholes then immediately attacked him together. Zhao Feng only shouted in response to them, and a large amount of aura was released from his body, which then produced a tremendous explosion, destroying the house as well as the asshole group. They all fainted in an instant, and Zhao Feng immediately rushed to find Shaner, ignoring them. After moving to the city of Isui in a building called Hong Tai, in which there is a son of the owner of the city of Biluo named Huang. He looks like a very important person, so he is served very well. Huang then took his prize, which was behind the curtain. He opened it slowly, and he became victorious. He then ordered the servant from Jishui City to leave immediately, and the servant immediately complied and closed the door. Huang, who was already in high tension, then immediately approached the curtains, making his saliva drip. He was very happy, because there was an angel in a remote town, and it turned out that the girl was none other than Shan who was tied up, and her mouth was gagged. Without further ado, Huang then tore his clothes, intending to give his love whip. Shan also screamed for help, and that only made him more excited. His underlings immediately attacked in unison, while Zhao Feng responded casually. There is a way to heaven, but no threshold for hell. Zhao Feng then activated the Lion Code, which then wiped out all the enemies. Young master, how did you become so strong? Shan'er was also impressed. Of course, if not, how can I protect you at room temperature? Hey, little bug, how dare you misbehave with this young master? Huang then shot an arrow at Zhao Feng, who immediately protected Sang Er. He then activated the tempo to hit the attack. An extraordinary clash ensued, and the result was that Huang was crushed as Zhao Feng's strength was far greater. Choose your own way of death. You dare to kill me? Aren't you afraid that the So family will be destroyed? Your life is threatening. Do you think I will care if I kill you first? Zhao Feng shot a finger, but just as it was about to reach Huang's head, he offered a secret. Zhao Feng was stopped, and he then told him if he knew the mastermind behind the ambush against him in the past. That was all he said. So Zhao Feng then withdrew his hand again, and then gave another shock therapy. Wait a second. Back when you were still the #1 genius in Yesui City, you were seriously injured by a mysterious person, right? You became trash, and your cultivation fell to such a level. Quickly say, who is that person? That person is Genkai-san, the #1 strongest person in the city of Biluo, he replied. Who's he? Green family, and he has no problem. Why should he be so arrogant to me? You didn't know back then the Zhao family had an invincible genius? He attracted the attention of the entire Liang country, suffered defeat while fighting against him. That's why he hates you. Zhao Feng was confused as to who the genius was, and why he was being taught and then made trouble for me. What should I do with this? Genius bastard Xiao family. How come I don't know who he is? I didn't know you had to ask that back. I already told you why you promised to let me go. Huang backed away in fear. Fine, I'll just send you off. Then Zhao Feng then stabbed the younger brother. Feng makes him scream. Zhao Fang then immediately went after to the Zhao family to administer justice. Turning to Zhao's residence, he saw someone crying in front of his father. You could say he was the cousin of Zhao Fang, who seemed to have previously served the poor, meaning that he had a higher status, and so he cried because he had just seen Huang being beaten up by Song Huang, and became scared that Zhao Fang came to kill him for kidnapping Song Er, and responding to his son's whining, Uncle Zhao became very angry. Because in the past, Sun Krong's father had stolen the position of young master from him 18 years ago. Thus, he could not accept that because he thought that his son Zhao Fang would pressure him again. He also intended to go to the law enforcement hall intending to frame Zhao Fang to get the death penalty. Before long, Huang finally arrived at Zhao's residence. He paused for a moment to make up his mind to return only to be met with a brutal welcome. Zhao Fang, by order of the elders, we must take you to the law enforcement hall. Quickly follow us. The group of people immediately blocked his path. Responding to that, even Zhao Fang only laughed, asking them to get away while emitting quite a strong aura. Zhao Fang then walked past them casually, and they were all blown away by themselves by the radiating spiritual power. He then brought them to a presence in the law enforcement room. He was the same person as before, and he was in the law enforcement room with his son. The two of them then headed towards Zhao Fang had attacked his brother, and Zhao Fang smiled. What was my fault? I am the young master of a distant family. You are setting me up to kill my family and refuse to admit guilt. Catch him. I'll give him a penalty for his ration, shouted a cob. In response, his underlings immediately surrounded them, pointing their spears, making Shan Er worried, and Zhao Fang immediately activated lion mode to respond to them. The lion's head smashed into all of them, sending their spear pieces flying, one of which shot towards Suzanne, and it almost hit his face. Whether it was intentional or not, Zhao Fang then told Shang Er to go out and wait for him, and he left immediately. My little beast personally today will capture the old fart Princess Yuxuan, or else it's not worthy of it, Zhao Fang replied. Both of them then launched attacks at the same time, resulting in quite a strong clash. Both of them then shot off each other's swords, and the outcome of the relationship was determined. The foster son was very surprised, because Zhao Fang had become so strong, and sure enough, he was the winner of the fight. Sasuan's body was torn to pieces, and he finally fell dead. Zhao Fang also got 30,000 XP points from him, indicating that he is quite a strong person. Turning to the child's side, he peed in his pants. Because he was scared, he hugged Zhao Fang's leg, begging for mercy, and Zhao Fang immediately kicked him without mercy. It was just an ordinary kick, but the suckling died because his body was too weak. Zhao Fang was shocked, because the result of killing him turned out to be a XP reduction of 300 carrot points, considered a piece of elementary trash to the point of damn how dare you eat my 300 XP, and the reason why he kept on in my mind. Who is the mysterious genius of the family? Why did the ancestor allow me to be humiliated by all this? I have to meet grandfather to ask for answers. Zhao Fang then rushed over, while the gods of death who picked up the suckling looked sad to see him. Zhao Fang finally arrived at his grandfather's residence. He then opened the door to salute to meet. But there was absolutely no answer beyond the door, only smoke so thick it made Zhao Fang anxious. He then went inside and found his grandfather lying on the floor. Even the Sais then immediately helped him up, asking, how was he? And it turned out that his grandfather named Shu Xingfeng was still alive. He also asked the temperature not to worry because it was only a matter of parents, and asked what he meant by coming. Zhao Fang then went straight to the point, asking about the Zhao family's mysterious superboy, and Grandpa Save became angry, immediately telling Zhao Fang to never talk about it again. Zhao Fang also explained that it wasn't because he wanted to talk about it, but that got him dragged along with Jen. Because even the most sissy sister then told him to explain everything properly, and then explained everything. He also told about the development of his cultivation, which made grandfather very happy because finally he had made it to the top 1-star military, and as for the genius child himself, it turned out that he was called Sangor. The problem was a bit complicated, so grandfather then told it from the beginning. It used to be the Lia country that had 3 major families that controlled the country, namely the Zhao family, the Hoyang family, and the Siyu family. And for their own families, they had a branch family that would periodically rely on some sort of acceptance test to the main family, with the Battle of Suhur himself being from a branch family, and he took his first exam at the age of 20. He managed to win all the fights. Truly unbeatable. He brought new hope to the Zhao family. Just before the acceptance meeting, he was killed by a person called Soyuan Sang from the main family. Zhao Feng also realized something and then asked whether he was his father and grandfather, who often answered if that was true. He also apologized for not being able to help Dan Kaizan, who attacked him, because Dan Kaizan threatened to destroy the Zhao family. Most likely, and Kaizan and Cao Yuhan sang this work together, so knowing and even then, Zhao Feng became very angry. Wanted to take revenge on both of them at once. Xing Feng's grandfather then reminded him that the main priority was to deal with the revenge of B2 City and Zhen Kai's, who came first. Because Zhao Feng, who had just beaten young Master Blue, he also ordered his legs to immediately take people away and then took out a top-class herbal medicine. He gave it to his grandfather to heal his wounds. Zhao Feng then went to take care of matters, and the grandfather cried, seeing himself who had grown strong like his father. Zhao Feng also aims to go to Jane's family, where Sajuran is hiding. But right when the leg swelling came out, then someone came with bad news. Piliwang City troops. Nevermind came threatening to destroy the Zhao family. All the disciples of the Zhao family residents immediately got ready, and sure enough, a group of troops in Luoc then appeared, led by a general named Desu. Grandfather then asked the purpose of his arrival with Zhao Feng, and Zhao Feng immediately shouted at Zhao Feng, "You bastard! How dare you attack our son? This time I have come to destroy the Zhao family," he said. Hearing that, the Zhao family's disciples became very surprised. Not expecting that Sorong would be so brave, a student then begged Desi to make one to let go of the Zhao family, and Zenfon's grandfather then immediately threw it. Asserted that the Cho family would not sell people as well as in Zhao didn't care, and he then mobilized all his troops to attack his troops. Even then they cheered, raising spears, making the resident students too frightened. Especially the difference in numbers was also very large, and in the midst of that panic, even grandfather, who then opened the attack, shouted, asking all students not to give up. He also launched an attack, and General Disu immediately confronted him. The general in Zhao then replied to his surrender with a spiritual shot that threw Sangguang's feet away. It turned out that General Ji Sui was much stronger than he expected, and had broken through to the 5-star military level. He also wondered when did that happen. But the general didn't care. He killed. The sword flew, and Zhao Feng then intercepted him, kicking his body. "You want to kill him? Why don't you ask me first?" Zhao Feng said. While General Dishu was surprised, he was tired when he attacked with his sword adrift, and then fired Bion's sword technique. Zhao Feng then took out his focus to respond, instead of attacking, so that Grandpa was surprised. Did not expect that Zhao Feng was so powerful. Likewise, the other students also felt the same way, and began to doubt that they could catch up with him. General Dijao then laughed, because he was also surprised, although he didn't really care, and meanwhile he took a deep breath and then shouted out a very strong aura, making General Shu and Grandfather very surprised. The aura that radiated was extremely strong, and Zhao Feng then said he would teach him a lesson. Everyone was silent in fear, and he then activated his flagship move, which was none other than a lightning step. He ran away because he realized that his enemy was stronger. He made everyone wonder, and of course it made the general very angry because he had been toyed with. He laughed because his plan had worked, and he then began to think of ways to level up quickly in order to beat him. His eyes fell on the proper Blue City troops, and he then asked Grandpa Zheng Feng to help him hold off the general first. Grandfather had a plan, who agreed without much question, and he stood up. "You bastard, how dare you hurt my granddaughter? I will be your opponent," he said, attracting attention. They exchanged fists afterwards, while Zhao Feng immediately dashed towards the Blue City army. The troops laughed at him for eating feces after defecating in the toilet, and Zhao Feng then immediately fed the excrement to the soldiers. They became very angry, and then enlisted the help of the whole army, and then surrounded Feng from all sides, and Zhao Feng then activated his fresh tempo ability to defeat them all. Zhao Feng then continued to teach them all without resistance, until he finally rose to the level of coma and 2-star military too. Then get a new technique called 40,000 points. General Dishu was very surprised to panic, while of course Big Brother was very happy. "Okay, he will die now." He stares at Zhao Qi. "Little bastard, you killed so many of my people." "I will destroy you," he replied as he knocked down Grandfather. Grandpa panicked, and immediately ordered Zhao to run away. But of course Zhao Fang didn't care. He then activated his new technique Petrus Watch, while General Zhu countered the sword technique. Light appeared. He took cover behind the shield, and it began to slowly erode him. The general was very surprised when he didn't expect it, and he was finally hit directly by Zhao Fang's attack, and died. The system then congratulated Zhao Fang for killing the enemy, and the 5-star military sent IDR 50,000 XP points. Zhao Fang then checked his status upgrade, and found that his 6-star military Quadivasi had increased with his time plus scapegoat technique, which reached maximum points. Zhao Fang was very happy, and his development was so crazy that it was even on par with 9-star military commanders. Zhao Fang became even more eager to make trouble so he could level up faster, and he then left. An anxious Shan Er then rushed up to him, asking him where he was going. Zhao Fang then asked him to stay behind to take care of grandfather, and Shang Er complied, only reminding him to be careful. In Bilua City, which is Zhao Fang's next destination, he then stopped by to agree first, thinking of a plan, based on that information and illusion after reaching Half-Step Wilson. While the Earth in Blue City named Hoji is a martial artist who is escorted by many strong warriors. They were such powerful opponents that Zhao Fang's inability to act changed. He also plans to level up first by killing the city guards, and starts thinking of ways to cover up identity. It crossed his mind to use a mask and a set of beautiful clothes. Arrogant, so he then went to a shop. He also told the shop owner if he wanted to make a cool gold mask, and the shop owner told him to just make it himself. Inside, he pointed at the announcement paper under the table, and Sopeng immediately looked at it. And sure enough, the paper said, "Server please, or serve himself." Zhao Fang became angry because he had to bother even if he just wanted to hide his identity. But he still does. He also began to see gold, and the system then announced that it had learned the ability to occupy, feeling very happy with the instant system. So he became very excited. Time passed quickly, and finally the mask he made was already finished. Although it's a bit ugly. At the same time, the system then announced the increase in his supporting ability, so that Zhao Fang then continued to occupy it again until he reached the master level. The shooter's loud noise even woke the shop owners up. Being very disturbed, the shop owner then checked the situation inside, and was very surprised because it turned out that Zhao Fang had made a lot of ugly masks before he finally managed to get one that was quite cool. Zhao Fang then gave gold as payment and asked the owner of the shop to take the change. Very arrogant. He then immediately rushed off to carry out the leveling plan. While on the side of the city guard led by a coma and named Hudong Yi in the Chengdong Theater, he was training with his troops because tomorrow he would be sent to Yusui City to destroy the Zhao family. And even in the middle of his training, someone then came from above the sky to the ground very powerfully. Produced planes. That someone was clearly none other than Zhao Fang, who was already wearing a mask. Dong Yi then ordered all his troops to immediately finish off Zhao Fang, immediately surrounded him from all sides. He then presents his abilities and blows them all away, making Dong Yi shocked. Is that really a human ability? He panicked and then immediately ran away. But of course Zhao Fang inside lets him go. He then fired a spiritual bullet through his heart, increasing drastically after slaughtering them and reaching 9-star military life. Zhao Fang was very happy to have leveled up so fast, and he then immediately moved towards another source of XP, and not long after, news of the death of the city guards reached the Hoji. He was clearly furious to learn that someone was rioting in his town. Huji's subordinate then promised to catch him soon, worried that he then made it clear to him not to come back if it didn't work. Not long after that, a servant then came to give him good news. Young Master Cheng managed to break through the 9-star military standing. Huji was very happy to hear that, and he then ordered the servant to bring Fang home immediately. He laughs because his plan to become the tyrant of Lia's country is going smoothly. I don't know what that means, maybe like wanting to take over. Switching to the Huang side, he then went west to the center of the Biluo City Guard Corps where he slaughtered everyone there, and finally managed to reach the 5-star Martial King level, already exceeding 1 million points, so that Zhao Fang was very happy, felt like flying, and he then opened the magic box. The contents turned out to be a book of Spirit Step Cloud Guard, or Linkyun Mam. It's an ancient technique often used for bathers that could be used to teleport as far as 100 miles. It sounded so good to Zhao Fang that he immediately learned it. He read the book automatically with the ability of the system and quickly mastered it. He was also able to move quickly to produce a lot of shadows, and he immediately practiced it. Beat up all the remaining fakes, and not long after Huji's underling named Chang then came. He was clearly enraged by the chaos that had ensued. Zhao Fang was very happy because the XP points came from him, while Chelsea immediately deployed her sword, threatening not to let him escape. Zhao Fang laughed because Cheng Xi's words should not accept his arrogance, and he then ordered his troops to kill him immediately. His troops then immediately attacked Zhao Fang together, and Zhao Fang also activated the Golden Lion ability. Responding to them, all died in an instant, making the pride worship XP points. Being arrogant towards me, said Suvan Chengxi also panicked, then did not intend to surrender. He then announced the hot group immediately prepared arrows and his troops obeyed. The overwhelming shower of arrows rained down on Zhao Fang, who was able to dodge them easily with technique. None of them were hit. Even his movements were too fast to be seen. He was confused because Zhao Fang had suddenly disappeared, and an arrow then hit his head. Chengxi was very angry and then asked his troops, "Who dares to do it?" And everyone answered, "Not me. What do you see? You're looking for how I'm here?" Zhao Fang slept on the wall, insulting him. He then immediately ordered his troops to shoot his pang-pang again, and Zhao Fang then caught all the arrows that came flying at him. They were like a playing field for him, and Zhao Fang then threw their arrows back. The Chengxi troops panicked and immediately fled, but the arrows that flew were much faster. They all died, leaving only Cheng alone. He was still very confident because his cultivation was at the 7-star Martial King level, 2 levels above Zhao Fang. He then kicked his horse running with a spear at Zhao Fang's tangi. He then slashed his spear, but Zhao Fang managed to dodge it easily using the Linky Lock. He then quickly realized that the skin was taller than him, so he then ran away first to increase the high level and then immediately chased him. But of course it doesn't matter. Chelsea's troops panicked because of the madman who had come, and they had fled. After that, they played chase until finally the tension became very angry because the troops undermined the dignity of a guard. He also shouted at them to emphasize the attitude of running away. It is not allowed to threaten to throw them away if they violate. The troops then finally stopped running and then immediately surrounded Zhao Fang, who finished them easily, until finally Chengqi managed to chase him, who was cornered on the edge of the fort. "Little thief, look where you'll be able to run." Now he is very confident too. But sadly, Zhao Fang, never mind, managed to finish off countless people before that and had already reached the quote level, a 7-star Martial King on the same level as him. But he has not realized it. Zhao Fang then activated the tempo ability, dumbfounded that the power was greater than he expected. They were killed in an instant, and seeing that explanation alone made the city guards very surprised. Whether they meet so much that our gold has to be killed, keep showing up. Zhao Fang also got 70,000 XP from killing him, so of course it made him very happy. He trampled like trash, and saw that of course the rest of the troops were very scared. They immediately ran away, but of course Zhao Fang didn't just let them go. He then taught them all, moving lightning fast until the end of Ling's proficiency points reached 6 million points. Ascending to 6th tier as well as advancing to 8th tier Martial King, all the preparations were finished, and he then immediately rushed to the city owner's residence. And meanwhile, from above the roof tiles, it was obvious that someone was following him, and he then immediately returned to report to his master. Afterwards to Cixi and the Emperor, who had already met a family ancestor named Yen Donghan. They discussed about Zhao Fang, whom they called Golden Face. They knew if the city was attacked by him, even sending the very famous Chengxi, it meant that Blue City was lacking in strength. So that in a nutshell, they planned a mutiny, and but not long after a subordinate later reported, all the people along with the entire city guard were killed. Obviously hearing that, he was very surprised. He then said goodbye because he wanted to do something. He didn't want to get involved anymore because he knew that the Golden Mask was very strong, and Kaizan just let him go, and a carrier, just that asked what to do now, because the Golden Face was very strong, and the Emperor also asked him not to be afraid and stick to the original plan. He also laughed nonchalantly because his ambition to launch the seat of the city owner was much bigger. Turning to the city lord's side, he was relaxed because he had not heard of the news of Chengxi's death. The servant who brought the tea then told him that if a spy had reported, He had surrounded the golden mask well. He then asked the servant to immediately tell Chengxi not to kill him for interrogation, and many immediately received orders. He rushed away, and just as he opened the door, someone saw him first, until the servant was destroyed. He then asked Huang not to look for him anymore, because he had already killed Chang'e. Who is Zhao Fang really? Zhao Fang only replied that he was the one who wanted to take his life while jumping and attacking throwing boards. Kuji immediately ate the shield of protection, and he managed to destroy it. Zhao Fang, who was very surprised, then retreated from what his true martial arts were. But Hoji ignored it. Fuji also released the true force field ability, and the shield began to move. Zhao Fang stepped back and activated his Tempong of Light, and then vanished when it touched the shield. Huji also laughed, very confident in his ability, able to devour everything. He also shouted that he would take the life of the golden mask, fired several spiritual shots right at Zhao Fang. Zhao Fang immediately appeared to dodge, and after that, the marks on the floor showed how much strength he had. Zhao Fang also felt relieved to have the technique, instead of moving lightning fast, while Uji was furious that the attack drained a lot of his strength. He grew impatient, and began to attack in a circle, while Sulfang was able to avoid everything. Zhao Fang then ran away again, because his current level wasn't enough to fight him. He ran out, and beside the gold-armored general, came to report that he had gathered the city government army. Koji was very happy to hear that, and vice versa felt that his luck was extraordinary. Kuji then ordered the soldiers to immediately arrest and offer prizes for those who succeeded, and everyone immediately laughed. He came by himself very enthusiastic. He released 10 tanks to swords, which then caused everyone around Zhao Fang to continue teaching the people who came. Accidentally knocked over the gold-armored general. Zhao Fang's abilities have increased drastically, and he has managed to break the 10 million point mark for Ling Junction abilities, so that getting a new ability in the form of teleportation, Zhao Fang laughs like a madman. 5-year-old Ji, he then offers free insane treatment, releases attacks but balances teleportation in an instant. He is also confused about how fast swearing is. He paused, and Zhao Fang suddenly appeared behind him. Zhao Fang then shot him with spiritual power until his top hair became bald. The Qi was very angry while Xiong appeared again from the other side. The Goji then attacked him back. But Zhao Fang immediately moved again just below him. He really played with him, and on top of moving while painting his face to become a clown, the soldiers were very surprised by the appearance of the city lord, and then laughed at him. Of course, that made Huji very angry, wanting to kill him immediately, and even the Sais then immediately ran away. One intends to kill more than 20 soldiers first in order to go up. He then disappears in an instant, and appears in the midst of the soldiers, slaughtering them on sight. She is confused as she does not remember. Is he really able to get stronger by killing people? So he then orders the entire army to retreat to avoid fighting. It doesn't need all. The soldiers were very happy to be free from the madman, while Zhao Fang immediately shot towards them. The soldiers immediately ran away because they didn't want to die, and Zhao Fang immediately activated his temple. That's what. Their thousands of swords rained down, but Hoji then immediately blocked them, creating shields protecting the soldiers. Why is this turtle starting to survive? Don't you have the power to kill me? He also provoked him, but Hoji was not affected. Don't pretend. This old man already knows why your strength is growing rapidly. Next time I will never allow another to kill. The reply key obviously took Zhao Fang by surprise. The generation only known to him, Oji then began to attack his own soldiers, eliminating his XP source. Of course the soldiers begged him for forgiveness, but Hoji didn't care at all. He continued to attack until finally the group of soldiers became bones. Zhao Fang was so shocked by his madness that he even killed his own soldiers. He was completely out of patience with him destroying the city. He vowed to kill him, no matter what. A ray then descended from behind the gathered clouds, marking his oath. Seeing that too, Tuna became very surprised because he even made a vow of martial arts. On the other side panicked. He also tried hard to find a way to level up and then rushed to run away. While the Hoji chased him, he continued to run to the center of the city past ordinary residents. But still Huji kills them all without a second thought, doesn't give Zhao Fang, and he really has gone mad. Even made Temperature very annoyed because after all they were just ordinary civilians. Zhao Fang then decided to face him, and Huji laughed completely, not caring about seeing the residents as trash. It then dashed out a vicious fist that immediately retaliated, which sent a bolt of spiritual power crashing into its attack. A huge explosion was created afterward, and the result was that Zhao Fang was injured due to the difference in strength. "Stupid thief, I will cut off your hands and feet and then find your family and let you witness them. Kill one by one." He also tried to reach Zhao's mask, but he managed to avoid it. He immediately ran away and saw that someone wanted to help him, because he seemed to be having a hard time. Zhao Fang then called the system, asking for help, and the system then showed a list of items recommending weapons as assistance. But unfortunately, the number of supreme coins he has is only 1 coin left. Zhao Fang naturally panicked more and more, but because Iya was the 1,000th person to be bound by systems too, then gave her one chance to open the Wheel of Fortune. Zhao Fang then asked him to hurry up, and the system then spun the wheel like a lottery. The system then announces that the result is a fatal item card that allows the user to obtain the most powerful technique called maximum provocation. Zhao Fang then immediately used it without thinking. Because the arrogance of the card was very cool, at that time the intake was reversed, and then started for 10 minutes. Zhao Fang then asked the system to immediately find someone suitable and was chosen in Kaizan. Temperature then immediately ran towards him, and he then made fun of the old man who couldn't catch him, brought his anger to its peak. Zhao Fang then teleported forward, and his legs while bowing reported that he had succeeded in carrying Hoji according to instructions, obviously taking him by surprise, so he immediately attacked Zhao Fang. Fang also activated the Fatal Item card ability to make it appear 100 times, and in the middle of treatment at that time Satan's whispers then appeared in his head, that Zhen the Emperor would benefit the most if the sad city was weakened. As well as the Devil's Whisper appeared in Jan's head, his yearly car, if the opportunity to take over the city of Piluo has come. That's how the whispers go on, and that's what maximum provocation is all about. Both of them became very angry and wanted to kill each other. Both of them then released their respective attacks, resulting in very strong blast waves. The dust settled after that, and it was seen that there were coaches who fell further in one attack, showing the huge difference in their strength. Zhao Fang was still surprised, even though he already knew that strength and power were indeed on par with the strength of a great master. So he intended to level up first, before facing him. In a valley, there were several players gathered. They are at a save point or a safe place from monsters. While they were waiting, the players were suddenly startled by the appearance of a cat. He is a trading cat, which is an NPC character that sells certain items. They think that the cat is very cute. When a curious player asked what he was selling, the cat showed him a cherry tomato. The players were also disappointed, because the peddler's cat only sells cherry tomatoes. They thought the merchant cat would sell items such as weapons, armor, or other combat items, but he only sells a cherry tomato. The merchant cat smiled with a cynical face and said that they would be surprised by the status given by this tomato. The trading cat then told them to open their status window, hearing that they also opened the status of the cherry tomatoes. And sure enough, that tomato can increase 0.1 magic point for 10 minutes and can burn as much as 10 kilograms of fat. The male players there didn't think of it as a special item, but the female players were immediately surprised because the cherry tomatoes that the merchant cat was selling could burn 10 kilograms of fat. No need to diet and no need to buy slimming drugs. One time eating cherry tomatoes, he can burn 10 g of fat. It was very lucky to have those tomatoes. The cat also said that the price of these tomatoes was only half power point, and after hearing the price, the female players immediately bought lots of cherry tomatoes belonging to the merchant cat, and the cherry tomatoes belonging to the merchant cat were finally sold out. In fact, there are players with big bodies who want it, but unfortunately it's gone. He asked where he got them and who made them. But the merchant cat replied that it was a secret and said goodbye because the sale had run out. Shown in an underground cave, there's a tomato garden, and there's a man who is harvesting tomatoes. He is accompanied by a rabbit who helps him harvest tomatoes. The man told the other rabbits to rest, and then he put the tomatoes and told the cute bee to give honey to the juice he made. And after cooking, bee tomato juice with a very sweet taste. Tomato juice with honey tastes really good. The man and the 6 rabbits then drank the honey tomato juice they made. They looked so enjoying it. After enjoying the honey tomato juice, suddenly an additional notification appeared, ordering to distribute honey water to tower managers. From the task there is no compensation. Having no choice, the man sent it after the bee finished producing honey. From above the valley, suddenly someone jumped from above and called the man Park Sejun. The one who called the man turned out to be the cat selling the cherry tomatoes earlier. She jumped and landed in the man's arms. The cat then reported that the tomatoes had run out. He earned a lot of tower coins from his sales, and that made the man very happy. He was so happy he imagined this world he would rule with money. Then the cat ran to the black rabbit and asked the rabbit to refill his tomatoes, because the cat wanted to resell them. However, it looked like he was looking for the big fish to eat. Seeing that, thinking that the cat is getting addicted to money. Then, Park Sejun stood up writing something on the wall. He did that to count the days. He calculated that it was now the 150th day. It turned out that he had been in the cave for 5 months. But he was happy now because of the company of some working animals. There are rabbits who are in charge of caring for the plants. There are bees that help produce honey, and the cute cat that helps sell their products to players. 10 years ago, a tower appeared in Korea. Not only in Korea, in America, in England, and even in remote countries, also appeared Black Tower. In total, there are 100 towers in the world. Then one day a human came out of the tower, and there was news about a human in it. And apparently, they were players who entered the tower. They survived by killing the monsters in the tower. 10 years later, the system has been created. Now the player in the tower is a prestigious job all over the world because he can earn millions of dollars every day. And now the government is given the authority to sell golden tickets to its residents. This golden ticket serves as an entry ticket inside, and only John Tower currently has the ticket. One ticket sold for $200 million. The journalists also protest because the price is very expensive. Then, an assistant came, and he showed me something. He showed me a small box containing hundreds of gold coins, and there were also a lot of gemstones. Then the host said, "This treasure was obtained from the tower, and the value is around 10 billion. This was player C's earnings in 1 month. Then, the presenter offered, "If today's ticket prices are discounted to just 150 million. If you are interested, you can buy it today because tomorrow the price will return to normal to 200 million. Then there was a woman who became a cashier. She was serving a young man who bought vegetables named Park Sejun, 26 years old, an office worker who dreams of becoming a player in the tower. But because he didn't have enough money, he had to save up for 100 years to get a ticket to enter the tower. Well, basically, he wants to be rich and become a tower player. The problem is he is tired of living in poverty and has to work extra to live in this expensive Korea. Moreover, he wanted to propose to a famous artist in Korea. The woman is a K-pop girl who has recently become a conversation because her face is so beautiful. When he was imagining that he was meeting and proposing to the idol, he was awakened by a black hole that suddenly appeared behind him. When he turned around, he was shocked too, because it is a portal to another dimension like a black hole. Sejun did not understand what was happening. This should have happened 10 years ago, but now it appeared again and was right in front of his eyes. He felt very lucky. He also asked the black hole to take him. "Please take me," said Park Sejun. Park Sejun was happy, but the hole didn't take him. Instead, it got smaller. Due to panic fear that the hole disappeared, he barged into the hole. He then fell, and he woke up from the fall. At that time, he was happy because now he was in the tower. But where is it? Why is there so little sunlight in the cave? Where is this, and how is it? Park Sejun asked. In that vast cave, there is no exit or entrance. There was only a large, high hole, and even that was up in the sky. Park Sejun had to climb it to get out. But Park Sejun was confused about how to climb it. Trapped in a hidden hole in the tower's forest, he could only scream for help. On the other hand, in that forest was a black tower. On the top floor of the tower is a room. Inside the room was a crystal ball, and the ball detected a change in the tower, and the change made the tower system error. The monster controlling the crystal ball seemed visibly irritated because the crystal ball had detected changes in the tower and had found the cause. It has to find the error, because if not, he will be scolded by his manager, the monster. Inside the cave, it turns out that there is already a pool, the depth of which cannot be measured because there is no measuring device, and the height of the mouth of the cave is about 20 meters, and that is very high. Park Sejun also felt hungry because he had been in the cave for a day. He wanted to get out, and he wanted to explore. Feeling hungry, he checked his stock. There are spring onions, apples, tomatoes, mineral water, and sweet potatoes. For the first time, Park Sejun decided to eat an apple first. He ate it until only the seeds remained. Because it would be a shame to just throw it away, Park Sejun thought. What if it was planted? Who knows, it might grow. Next, Park Sejun ate sweet potatoes. He ate it raw because there was no fire to cook. When eaten raw, I don't think it's delicious either. It was so delicious that he choked. Frantically, he grabbed a water bottle and drank it. Now it's finally over having his first breakfast in this tower. Now it's time for Park Sejun to plant apples. He buried the apple seeds in the ground. Then, not only apples, he also planted chives. There are 10 spring onions in total. Then there were the 3 tomatoes he planted, and the 2 sweet potatoes he planted as well. Park Sejun hopes that his plants will grow, so he didn't have to worry about the food reserves he brought from the city. Suddenly something happened. In this tower there was a loud shake, and when he looked up at the sky, suddenly there was a solar eclipse. Hearing the sound of monsters screaming, Park Sejun's head hurt, and his body suddenly went limp. A moment later there was a black dragon flying over the cave. When Park Sejun saw it, he thought that the dragon looked beautiful. Park Sejun then fainted, because he couldn't bear the pressure of the solar eclipse. The alarm on Park Sejun's cell phone finally went off, and it woke him up. Realizing from his fainting how shocked Park Sejun was when he saw the date. He has been unconscious for 2 days. When he tried to stand up, Park Sejun's waist hurt because he had been lying down for too long. He then leans on a plant stem. A moment later, how surprised Park Sejun was when he saw that the stem of the plant turned out to be the spring onions he had planted. Why are the onions so big? Park Sejun didn't understand. Various reasons crossed Park Sejun's mind. Is it because of the effect in the tower, or because of soil nutrition? Then Park Sejun also checked other plants. DDA tomatoes that turned out to grow a lot. There are 52 tomatoes growing. But Park Sejun felt that the tomatoes weren't exposed to the sun, so it took a while to grow. He also cut the green onions that were blocking the sun from shining on the tomato plants. And while cutting everything, Park Sejun was curious about the taste of the green onion. Park Sejun then hurriedly ran to drink in the pool, because his mouth was really hot after eating the green onion. But his stomach didn't hurt, only his mouth felt spicy. Then Park Sejun continued to eat. He ate the leftover cherry tomatoes yesterday. He also ate raw sweet potatoes while thinking about this tower, like how to get out of this place or how to make this tower. During the blue moon yesterday, Park Sejun, who saw a flying dragon, wondered what floor this was. 10 years ago, one of the big guilds, Phoenix Guild, managed to conquer the 37th floor. Information about floors 30 to 37 was a top secret because it was hidden in the other big guilds. However, information on floors 30 and below can be found on YouTube. There are only skeleton soldiers from floors 2 to 10. Floors 11 to 20 have goblins. Floors 21 to 30 have orcs. According to some rumors, there is a spider monster on the 31st floor, but no info about dragons. Park Sejun had not even heard of anything that looked like a lizard. When Park Sejun was lying down, suddenly liquid fell on Park Sejun's face. Then you can see that there is a monster above it, and it turns out that the monster is a cute rabbit. The rabbit then jumped. Park Sejun also felt panic because he could fall because of his height of 20 meters. But the rabbit instead stepped on Park Sejun's head and landed on the ground. The rabbit was curious about Park Sejun's leek, and he asked permission to eat the leek. Park Sejun allowed it, and he cut off one of the stalks of the green onion. The rabbit was happy, and he ate it. But when the rabbit eats, it doesn't taste spicy, because it eats from the base. It seems that only the tip is hot, and not the base. Seeing that, Park Sejun also ate from the base of the leek, and he didn't find it so spicy. But the spiciness is still reasonable. Suddenly, Sejun was a little surprised, because he saw the leeks growing very fast. He thought he might have to cut his leeks frequently, so as not to cover up the light for the cherry tomatoes. Suddenly the rabbit called something from the mouth of the cave. Park Sejun was confused because there was no one at the mouth of the cave. But suddenly someone jumped from the mouth of the cave. The jumping figure turned out to be another rabbit, but this time the bunny was in an apron, and the bunny gave the first bunny a hat and a waterer. And it turns out that the rabbit is a couple of rabbits who are very cute, aka a pair of husband and wife rabbits. You can see that at the mouth of the cave, there are green onions, and those green onions are being cut and then watered. All of that was done by the two rabbits and the couple. The two rabbits are very happy farming. They really enjoy their work. Sejun. So I can relax a little since the two rabbits and the couple. Then the rabbit couple approached and asked Park Sejun for permission to stay and make a home here. They begged while acting cute. Due to being weak to their cuteness, Park Sejun finally agreed. But on condition that they have to help him farm. The bunny couple was very happy, and they hugged Sejun. Then, Park Sejun thought again. Park Sejun is thinking about his next move, because he just realized that the two rabbits' ability to apron and water is very, very good. The apron of the lady rabbit can take out any utensil. The apron can get anything out as long as it is a household utensil. The hair was finally done with chopping the green onions. Park Sejun then ordered the rabbits to dry the green onions in the sun. Then Park Sejun looked at the development of other plants, and saw that the one showing the development was cherry tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes develop very well and grow steadily. Sejun also felt very grateful to the two rabbits. Park Sejun also raised his thumb to the bunny pair. The bunny couple was very happy. Then the pair of rabbits immediately ran and stopped at the corner. Then they dug in that corner and built a house for them. The male rabbit made it so fast that the male rabbit was exhausted because he was speeding to build a house. Park Sejun also gave him a thumbs up and praised him. However, when the male rabbit is tired, the female rabbit invites him into the house for night activities. Then the rabbit man refused because he wanted to rest, but instead he was pulled by the rabbit woman. While waiting for the conjugal affairs between the male and female rabbits to be completed, Park Sejun wanted to take a nap first in a pile of plants that he used as a mattress. But suddenly he was even hot. There was something hot on his back. And it turns out, it was the fire that appeared from the refraction of the water bottle, which served as a magnifying glass that emitted light and focused on the green onions, which finally burned the green onions that Park Sejun slept on. Park Sejun felt hot, but besides being hot, he was also happy because he finally got fire. Park Sejun doesn't need to eat raw anymore. He took his water bottle and shone it on the dried chives, but failed, and only smoke came out. The fire didn't form at all. Then Park Sejun tried to blow the coals on the dry leaves. The rabbit couple who had finished their nightly activities were confused by what Park Sejun was doing, who was blowing green onions. Then the two rabbits came over smiling. They seemed willing to help Park Sejun. Park Sejun then immediately ordered the two of them to blow on the green onions, while Park Sejun lit the green onions with a water bottle. Their cooperation finally paid off. A fire was successfully formed. Park Sejun immediately cut the green onions and burned the green onions on the bonfire. After it was cooked, he ate it, and it was sweet. Only by burning, the taste turned sweet. Both rabbits were so confused. They also tried to burn the spring onion and then eat it. The two rabbits were so excited because they got a different taste from the grilled green onions. Today, the three of them picked spring onions and burned them together. The next day, Park Sejun woke up from his sleep. He then washed his face in the pool. After washing his face, Park Sejun saw that his cherry tomatoes had grown big, and the green onions had been cut again, and the sweet potatoes had also grown well. Park Sejun was very happy, especially with the green onions, because this plant has helped him a lot, especially at night where Park Sejun makes leek rolls and makes them torches. Park Sejun intended to put it near the pond to make it all clear. However, it turns out there are fish in the pond. From inside the pond, suddenly the fish appeared and wanted to eat the torch. But Park Sejun immediately dodged, and the fish fell ashore. Nocturnal fish seem to be attracted to light, and that's how Park Sejun gets fish in this cave. Park Sejun also ate it, and he was really happy after not eating meat for so long. The three of them ate together again. Previously, Park Sejun counted the days and hours on his cell phone, but his cell phone had died because the battery ran out. So finally, Park Sejun counted the days by writing on the wall of the cave, and now according to his calculations, He has lived in the cave for 61 days, and it was a bit difficult in the beginning, but now he's used to it. Moreover, he can already eat grilled fish. The most surprising thing is the rabbit couple, who now have cute children. Park Sejun was very happy because he had an additional friend. The rabbits who came out of the house ran to hug Park Sejun. Park Sejun was very happy because he was considered the uncle of the 5 rabbits. Then Park Sejun took the rabbits to the tomato garden. You can see the tomatoes have flowered, so it's time to pollinate them. Because there are no insects here, pollinate manually. When pollinating, it turns out that there is one rabbit who inhales the flower of the tomato plant. The young rabbits then get pollen and sneeze. After that, Park Sejun cleaned the rabbit's nose, and it turned out that Park Sejun also saw a tomato growing, but it was still not ripe. Park Sejun lifted the bunny happily, because after a long work they finally got the fruit. That day was the day before the blue moon. Park Sejun made a fire and hid it under a rock. Park Sejun then used green onions as hats and clothes for camouflage and warmth. It turned out that his leek clothes weren't thick enough to protect Park Sejun. He's still cold when the moon is blue. Suddenly there was a red bear, and looked down at the cave, and it was the cave that Park Sejun lived in. He looked under the cave where there were leeks. It seemed he was interested in seeing the leeks. Park Sejun really panicked seeing the big bear. He was trembling with fear. Park Sejun was confused about what to do. Because of his panic, he dropped all the contents of his bag, which was carrying a bottle of water and cherry tomatoes, and all the contents of Sejun's bag fell. After seeing Park Sejun, the big bear stared at Park Sejun. The rabbits tried to wake up Park Sejun, the male rabbit who felt he had slapped him enough for being hard to wake up. Park Sejun was shocked and confused. He thought he died from being eaten by a bear. Park Sejun wondered what was going on. Isn't the blue moon over yet? Where's the bear? Park Sejun could only remember the incident. He actually saw a huge bear roaring at the mouth of the cave, and that made Park Sejun suffer a heart attack. But it was very strange why he was not attacked at all by the bear, and he was even intact, no injuries at all, no traces of attack. However, suddenly the bear disappeared. Looks like there are no more bears. But the fear still enveloped him until it chilled him. The wife's rabbit took the fire that was on the rocks and burned the bonfire with spring onions. Park Sejun also felt a little better because of the bonfire. The wife rabbit then brought Park Sejun the grilled fish he had been saving. Park Sejun was very happy, and he ate the grilled fish voraciously. And he then immediately finished his grilled fish. Because Park Sejun had returned to good health. Then the male rabbit told Park Sejun that there was something in his tomato plant. When you look at the tomato plants, they turn blue. Park Sejun, who saw that, was immediately shocked to see the blue tomato. He also checked, and it turned out that this tomato is a tomato that is affected by light. A notification then appeared saying that Park Sejun's great achievements had caught the attention of the tower manager. The tower manager is watching you, and the current tower manager is not happy. Park Sejun, who read the notification, was confused why he was not happy. Then the manager of the tower said that he knew Park Sejun was not a valid invited guest. The tower manager then said that the tower manager wanted to hide his mistake. The confused Park Sejun asked what he meant by mistake. Park Sejun was very annoyed, and he asked the manager to get him out of this hole and take him home. However, the tower manager thought of killing Park Sejun and destroying the evidence. Park Sejun was even more angry and said that was outrageous. The manager then kept silent. Park Sejun thought maybe he had gone too far. The manager then suddenly said that Park Sejun would be resurrected. Park Sejun's body was surrounded by blue light, and it shocked him. It turned out that the tower manager wanted to give Park Sejun a job for him. Park Sejun also felt very happy. Park Sejun was really happy because he finally got a job. But suddenly, Park Sejun became very disappointed because his job was a farmer. Then came Park Sejun's job description. This job makes Park Sejun not sick and very close to nature. XP points will also be obtained from planting and harvesting crops. Park Sejun didn't understand why this happened to him. Out of frustration, Park Sejun was about to crush the blue moon tomato in his hand, but he stopped moving as soon as he saw the 2 rabbits that were helping him, and the cute rabbits looking at Park Sejun with a frightened look. Park Sejun also relieved his anger. After recalling his struggles to make fire, grow crops, and get tomatoes, Park Sejun felt comfortable here, and he felt that being a farmer in this tower was not bad either. Therefore, he decided to continue farming. When he saw the blue tomato in his hand, the tomato then issued a notification, and it was written that the cherry tomato could permanently increase magic power by 0.05. Seeing this statement, Park Sejun was very surprised. This is amazing, he thought. The blue tomatoes could increase status, but the increase was too small for one. But what about eating 100 pieces? Park Sejun was happy because of his extraordinary tomatoes. But the tower manager was getting annoyed seeing him. When Park Sejun lifted the rabbits out of joy, a quest appeared in front of Park Sejun. But seeing the consequences of failing the quest, Park Sejun was shocked because if he failed, he would die. While frightened, he asked if it was just a joke. Then at the same time Park Sejun was celebrating his farmer's job with the rabbits, Park Sejun got another notification. And it is a quest to give the tower manager a blue moon tomato. And if you refuse, then Park Sejun will die. You're right. This is robbing his name. Is it true that he can't ask nicely? Why does he use intimacy to kill everything? Park Sejun was angry and annoyed with the behavior of the tower manager. He was confused about what to do. But if he thought about it, it wasn't bad either way. This is a blue cherry tomato, said Park Sejun while giving a tomato, and finally the mission was completed. Prizes were also given. Because Park Sejun was curious about what skill he got, and after opening it, he got a skill showing. It's a skill that can increase seed sowing when it's planted. Because he is a farmer, so Park Sejun can't complain anymore. It's time to run this query. Then Park Sejun made a bonfire, and again lured the fish that were attracted by the light from the torches. He then hit the fish jumping towards the light, and it turns out that killing fish in the cave pool can get XP points. And thanks to catching lots of fish now he is level 2. After getting a lot of fish, it's time for them all to eat. Park Sejun made the rabbits come before work. They will eat first, and after eating they will return to farming. After finishing eating, Park Sejun and the rabbits began to see the farm that was planted. Seeing how many fruits were growing, the rabbits were happy with the growth. The plants they planted really became good plants. It made Park Sejun moved. Park Sejun also picked the cherry tomatoes. He really liked his very first cherry tomatoes. He was surprised to see that he got XP points from picking the fruit he planted. Then the cherry tomatoes gave off status, which is a very tasty and very nutritious tomato. Can increase 0.1 MP for 10 minutes and burn 10 grams of fat. Even though it can provide additional color energy, the status is not that great. But it can burn 10 grams of fat. If you eat 10 pieces, you can burn 1 kilogram of fat. Apparently this is suitable for girls who like diet. Seeing that, Park Sejun picked some cherry tomatoes and he leveled up to level 4. Out of curiosity, Park Sejun also wanted to eat 1 tomato. However, Park Sejun was glared at by the rabbits. Looks like they want the tomatoes too. They also started eating together. And when he fell asleep, Park Sejun was shocked by a loud noise and saw fireworks exploding in the sky. Park Sejun and the rabbits were also impressed. Park Sejun once again felt moved. Wow, the description is really amazing. It really tastes really good. I also want to try it, so I cried eating the cherry tomatoes and got into the rabbit. Cherry tomatoes. They kept them under a pile of rocks which they then covered with chives. Yes, because it was nighttime to sleep in a bed with green onions on the ground. Now the spring onions have become a mattress and blankets too. Sejun sleeps with green onions wrapped, but when he sleeps a notification appears. Give 100 cherry tomatoes to the tower manager. A gift for farming skills. Refuse to turn around. Yes. But I didn't see it because I was already asleep. And the sound was really loud, startling Sejun. This manager has no morals. When I want to sleep, I'm also disturbed, okay? Okay. Then he opened the skill prize, hoping for the skill this time op, but instead got a harvest skin, namely harvesting plants or fruit optimally even though they weren't ripe. Okay, this harvesting skill is really a dreg skill. I'm also really disappointed with this skill. Yeah? Rest and Sejun moved on the next day. Today Sejun returned to harvesting tomatoes. The results were quite a lot, and it turned out that the harvest skin was not bad, because it can ripen yellow tomatoes to be perfectly ripe. This house is better than that. Yes, than yesterday's Sejun's estimate. And notifications appeared. The tower manager asked for 200 cherry tomatoes. There was no prize, but if you refuse, you can pay. Then after being given 200 cherry tomatoes, the quest appears again. Give 250. If you refuse, you can pay. Yes, even Sejun, who is eating grilled fish, is disturbed anyways. Why did the number increase? And yes, I even sold it, and protested he didn't want to give 250 cherry tomatoes, and all of a sudden the number increased by 500 cherry tomatoes. Give 500, why is it 500? This is called robbery. Just my woman, I don't want to be your slave. I don't want to say Sejun anymore. You plant the tomatoes there yourself, you bastard. Sejun said he was just angry. He was really angry. How come the tower manager asked for 500 tomatoes? Sejun also needs to eat Koeg, giving the mission that makes sense. Don't be careless like this. Walida, then a notification appears again. It's a farmer's problem, not a tower manager. Don't protest too much. Just bring the tomatoes. Read that olives are right. Really annoyed. He feels unappreciated as a farmer. He has to break this slavery. And he also says, I don't want to give it. Please just kill me, please, Mongo. I'm desperate, Sejun. Just a few instructions went and harvested green onions with the male rabbit, which then continued eating grilled fish. But the notification kept appearing and forced me to give 500 of the tomatoes. The problem was the notification kept popping up if I wanted to kill. I was really stupid. I've been talking nonstop since earlier. Hey, I'm a manager, so you have to obey my orders. Say a notification. Yes, I'm even more annoyed. Yes, even telling anyone who is arbitrary to his own subordinates. As a boss, you are very cruel. I also said that, the tower manager, so that's how heavy he is. He feels confused, because killing Sejun is easy. But if you kill him, no one will give him good food. But how come I don't even want to give it cherry tomatoes? What's more, that's from the projector ball. From the projector ball that the tower manager saw, I wanted to make fun of it. He licked the cherry tomatoes and those who wanted to eat them. Instead of being challenged, my looks really piss me off. I'll kill you right now. Never mind because I pity you. I give you 50. You should know too. There are rabbits here. There's a family of rabbits that need to be fed, so don't be fussy. Sejun Peak gave 5 tomatoes. Yes, the tomatoes were taken and the manager didn't protest anymore. That's it. Yes, it seems he is starting to understand the situation. Moving now at night, I was having a blue moon. He wanted to observe the plants lit up by the blue moon. He looked at the tomatoes. It looks like that, huh? The light was shining on the tomato, and the blue light was shining on one cherry tomato, and the yellow turned into a blue tomato. Wow, wow, wow. So that looks like the change in cherry tomatoes exposed to the blue moonlight. Then the light shone again, and the yellow sweet potato was hit by the blue moonlight. I was also surprised that this time there were 2 of them hit by the blue moonlight. Jackpot Twice-Eyed Jun also checked the plants that were exposed to the light, yet moon. He also ran to the sweet potato plants and he immediately dug up the sweet potatoes. And it's true that the sweet potato is purple. Not purple. It seems blue, that's right. Blue is a magic sweet potato. The sweet potato is very tasty and nutritious. It increases 0.05 magic power permanently. And yeah, hooray! You got a magical sweet potato that was exposed to the blue moonlight? Very lucky. Here's the rest of it. Then I also saw the blue tomatoes. He picked them. Yes, he was very happy. Double Kill got 2 pieces of soulful energy and was confused. As usual, the tower manager asked for sweet potatoes and tomatoes. And yes, he immediately gave 2 additional quests. Walidao immediately gave 2 at a time, but I also didn't want to. Instead, he gave me 500 tomatoes, which he didn't give before. Wanjarit was even given 500, but the manager got angry. Why instead of normal tomatoes? He wanted tomatoes and sweet potatoes that were affected by the blue moon. But I was so stupid that I immediately ate the tomatoes and yes, tastes like watching a fireworks contest. While waiting for it to be cooked, I just told the manager, next month I will give aged tomatoes and sweet potatoes, so be patient. Next month, not now. I want to enjoy it first. Okay, wrote, this time I do not protest. And yes, the moss was finished, and morning came, the rabbit house was open, and they came out, because of that it smelled delicious. Then they approached Sejun, who was eating blue moon sweet potatoes. He also told me that he was burning sweet potatoes, not sure it was very good. This let's eat. And yes, the rabbits are drooling, but the rabbit man forbids his family to eat sweet potatoes. Because only their boss can eat sweet potatoes, because there is only one sweet potato, so only Sejun eats it. Yes, hearing that. Sejun was very happy. He praised the male rabbit for allowing his boss to eat well. And yes, it's time to eat sweet potatoes. On the fans I used to have a fan, and what did I eat? But I also got so hot that I dropped the sweet potatoes, and yes, the sweet potatoes were scattered, and the children's rabbits took the little bits that were under it, which were scattered around, but they ate it, they vomited it because of that. Yes, it's hot, it's really hot for women. If you hold it, it's not hot. But if you touch your tongue, it gets really hot. How can the rabbits be like that? Yes, that question was not answered because Yasin also moved. The next day was scolding the bunny's children because they ate the sweet potato shoots. If you eat it until it's finished, the sweet potato won't grow any more koi. Shoots food stock and you are forbidden to eat everything, said Sejun. Why, stop eating the shoots if you are prohibited instead of fighting. It means you are prohibited eat anything, I said threateningly, and the words made the children of the rabbits mentally hit. And the bunny rabbits were angry and whining in front of him, but in exchange, Sejun will give them a delicious snack. But before that, you have to work first. The job is to replant sweet potato shoots. And yes, the rabbits immediately plant sprouts the sweet potato with alacrity, with great enthusiasm. Then Sejun told the mother rabbit not to cut the leek, because she wanted to make the leek bloom until the flowers appear and become new seeds. That's how we are shown the children's rabbits planting sweet potato shoots. They are very nimble to the point that they press the soil so that the plants grow well. After it was planted, Mr. Rabbit watered it. Yes, the sweet potato plants that the children had planted, and when a child was tempted by the sweet potato shoots, he immediately ate it. But he was also hit by Mr. Rabbit. Don't eat it, you idiot. It looks like I'm harvesting cherries. He got a lot of cherry tomatoes, and thanks to that he leveled up, even his skills leveled up. Now he is level 8, and he has status points, which are useful for increasing his farmer's status. But because he's hungry, he immediately makes food. That's right from that, yes. From the cherry tomatoes it looks like I also make the cherry tomatoes, yes, as satay and burn it after it's cooked. He called the bunnies to mukbang together. The bunnies came right away, and immediately gave them grilled tomatoes, which were made into satay. This looks delicious. I also want to make tomato satay. Then Sejun looked for leftovers from yesterday's sweet potatoes, which he had not had time to harvest, and well got enough sweet potatoes. This is for food supplies. But the sweet potatoes have a status, namely strength potato, maybe a delicious and nutritious channel that can increase strength or strength by 0.1 permanently, as well as can burn 10 grams of fat. It seems that all of my plants can burn fat in the body. Everywhere is really delicious. This is automatically slim. In another place, namely at the tower manager's place, there is a dragon who is doing something, and it turns out that the dragon is imitating Senjun burning tomato satay, and he also eats the tomato satay he cooks. And the result is, yes, he even vomits, because the cooking turns out to be bitter. How did you do this? Why did the result turn out to be so bitter? I feel bad about making it delicious, he said while observing Sejun from the crystal ball. And yes, he was shown the figure of the tower manager who turned out to be a dragon named Island Rush, a black dragon. We go back to Senjun and the rabbits who are eating sweet potatoes. They burn it, and they immediately eat roasted sweet potatoes when it's good to eat. Came out guys again. This time the manager asked for dirty sweet potatoes. Yes, I already understood that, but Sejun will give it, if he gets something he deserves. But yes, as usual, the reward is only farming skills. Well, okay, rather than no prize at all. I also gave roasted sweet potatoes to the tower manager and the prize appeared. What turned out to be a skill that can buy seeds once for 1 month. Great soul, this is just a skill. This is an extraordinary farming skill. You can buy seeds, you don't need to bother looking for more seeds. Okay, great soul, I said. I just activated it immediately, which then failed, because I didn't have any money at all. And this store uses tower coins, and I don't have full tower coins yet, and this sector will open if I have tower coins. But Manager Power is kind. With give Sejun 1 coin tower. Yes, I also thank the tower manager. He opened the sheet store and the seeds appeared. There were 1,000 cauliflower seeds, 1,000 red chili seeds, and 1,000 minutes carrots. All seeds cost 0.1 tower coins. If included with 0.11 coins, the tower is worth 1,000,001. Confused about where to buy it, but the rabbits were very happy when they saw that there were carrot seeds. The rabbits also wanted to buy carrots, because they wanted to eat carrots. The woman was shining. They even begged for it with attacks of science. Science. Wadret can't even withstand the attacks of the cuties. Okay, just bought carrots. 0.1 tower coins are used to buy 1,000 carrot seeds, which you get from the carrots in the red container. Okay, I've got the carrot seeds. It's time to plant. Okay, cheers. Enthusiasm for planting carrots, don't be lazy.
Let's all plant. When they are excited, there is a cute bee observing them from above. It seems the bee is interested in the flowers that are planted. The next day, now that the bean carrots had been planted, and the rabbits were waiting for the carrot bodies in the garden, they even looked relaxed looking at the two lovebirds who were alone together. It seemed they couldn't wait to eat carrots anymore. Because I was tired yesterday after planting 1,000 carrot seeds, I wanted to sleep, but there was the sound of an insect disturbing him. He chased the insect away because it was too noisy. I couldn't rest, I said, because his sleep had been disturbed, and it turned out to be the bee earlier. Watching Sejun from the top of the cave looking at Sejun with strangeness, seeing the bee smile very happy, yes, it can produce honey. But after seeing its status, this bee is a very deadly poisonous bee. A bee that can produce honey, but its sting is very poisonous. It immediately reacts if it has hit the sting. There was a danger of a deadly insect. Hearing that, the rabbits immediately ran away. Why was I even left alone? I screamed. Sherry, the Celeba, was also interested, and he ate the nectar from the cherry plant, which he really liked this nectar. He liked it so much that he immediately smiled full. He also felt that this bee was not dangerous. It was just a bee looking for food. I don't want war to see that I'm allowing the bees to eat as much flower nectar as they like, okay? All of you have helped Sejun for the pollination process, so that it doesn't have to be manual anymore. Yes. It's pollination. And yes, the bees are very happy because the nectar is very tasty, and there's unlimited abundance of it. Wajret is really happy. The bees are happy to get additional energy. But yes, they are very annoyed with the rabbit. How dare they leave their boss when they are in danger? The rabbits want to make it delicious. Even after they are satisfied eating Silaba nectar, they approach Sejun, and he even perches on my body. Then went to sleep as if Silaba was full after eating. Went straight to sleep, and yes, I moved, well, to be more precise. It was accelerated. You can see he was in front of the rock. He was looking at the writing on the stone. Now it's been 120 days. He's in the cave and having written it in Batu already 120 times, it turns out that the writing in Batu is that at this time I was harvesting, assisted by Mrs. Rabbit and Mr. Rabbit, who were watering the carrots that had started to grow. Then I also saw the children's rabbits running as if they were playing. There was also a honeybee perched on his shoulder. I seemed to be getting along well, and yes, with Sejun, and now it has become very broad. Wow, that's a lot of plants, right? Eat grilled fish while eating green onions covered in honey, and the honey comes out of the honeybee's mouth. Yes, the poisonous bee earlier became honey scallions, which are really tasty and sweet. I think that's it. I was going to eat honey scallions, and after eating, Sejun looked at the stone he wrote. He predicted that tonight there would be a blue moon. He had to prepare to start the preparations by putting his cherry tomatoes in a safe place. Then the rabbits looked strange. They let the rabbits accompany them. Sejun thanked him for accompanying him and did not enter the house. Instead, he was told to accompany Sejun. They hugged. Then Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit immediately ran into his house and left the baby rabbits outside, which they then greeted me to take good care of them. Home. This is why the child was left behind and not brought into the house. Suddenly the little rabbits changed, and they became big and fierce. The frightened Park Sejun was confused about what was really going on. His bunny friends suddenly became bigger and more muscular. Not only that, they also became very vicious. They suddenly shone brightly. A moment later, they turned back into cute bunny rabbits. Park Sejun, who was shocked, asked if they just turned into adults. Even their colors, too. Since it was already the 5th blue moon after they were born, Park Sejun thought that this was like some sort of coming-of-age ceremony. Park Sejun cried and said that he thought something had happened to them. After the rabbits panicked, they approached Park Sejun and tried to cheer him up. But it turned out that Park Sejun only pretended to cry and started playing with them. The next day, the rabbit pair finally came out of their house. Park Sejun, who was hanging out with the rabbits, called the rabbit pair. The rabbit couple hugged their children because they were happy they were adults. Seeing this atmosphere, Park Sejun thought maybe he should prepare a coming-of-age ceremony for them. Then one of the rabbits raised their hands, and suddenly a spade appeared. Park Sejun was very surprised and curious about what it was. The other bunny rabbits all got their own farming kit. Park Sejun was surprised because they could bring up items. He finally understood. So when the farm rabbits are grown up, they can get their own items. But sadly, he couldn't borrow it. Seeing a black rabbit, Park Sejun asked how it was. The black rabbit took out a hammer proudly. Park Sejun was confused because a hammer wasn't a gardening tool, but seeing his name, he was surprised because he was a warrior. The farmer rabbits finally started doing their chores with their tools. When one of the farmer's rabbits brought him a cart of tomatoes, Park Sejun thanked him and told him to put it where he pointed. Park Sejun was very touched because the bunny children were now helping their mother and father with their work. He thought that the adorable babies who used to run around here and there had grown up well. But when he looked at the black rabbit, his work was just idle. Since the black rabbit was a warrior, its job was to fight. But since they were in a cave, there wouldn't be any monsters that would harm the estate, so there was nothing to fight against. The hammer also cannot be used to help with gardening. Park Sejun began to think about what they should do. Seeing Park Sejun who was thinking, the black rabbit also came up with an idea. The black rabbit then got an idea and pointed his hand towards the pond. Park Sejun also understood what he meant. He can hunt in ponds. Since hunting was also part of fighting, he could also be useful. Because of that, Park Sejun said that he would lure them with the torch and the black rabbit would catch the fish. Mick started shaking his torch in front of the pond. A moment later, a fish came jumping. At Park Sejun's signal, the black rabbit jumped up and hit the fish with its hammer. The fish that was hit by the hammer hit the wall and was crushed. The black rabbit then proudly showed its thumbs up. Park Sejun, who saw this, panicked and shouted. Park Sejun and the rabbits finally got together, and in the middle of them was a fish that the black rabbit had destroyed. Another elf looked angry, and the black rabbit looked sad. Park Sejun also tried to comfort the black rabbit, and said that he would definitely get better if he continued to practice. Therefore, do not be sad and invite him to eat. And just like that, the rabbits got used to their roles. Seeing the black rabbit, who started to understand how to catch fish, also praised him. After 125 days, the seed shop has finally reopened. Park Sejun was curious what he should buy this time. In the seed shop, there are 3 choices, namely, 10 watermelon seeds cost 5 tower coins, 50 sweet pumpkin seeds cost 1 tower coin, and 200 waxy corn seeds cost 0.5 tower coins. Park Sejun was surprised to see that the price of the seeds on the list now was very different from the previous list, because currently, Park Sejun only has 0.9 tower coins. With this, he can only buy wax corn seeds. Park Sejun wasn't sure what he should do. If the price got higher, then he wouldn't be able to buy anything later. What's more, he didn't even have anything to earn money from. The first method is to get rewarded after clearing a floor. Even though there are a lot of them, the reward is given only once on each floor, so the percentage of the original profit that the hunters get is not that much. The second method is hunting monsters, selling monster bodies to peddlers or shops on the first floor. This is the best source of income for hunters because it can bring long-term profits. Then the third method is completing missions and getting rewards. Rewards for various missions, so it's hard to guess. Among these 3 things, clearing one floor is impossible for Park Sejun. He couldn't even get out of this cave. Because of that, the way he has now is just a robbery-level mission given by the tower manager. After he finished thinking, Park Sejun asked if the tower manager could hear him. He then asked if he could give him a tower coin in return for completing his mission right now. But the tower manager replied that he didn't know what Park Sejun meant, and said that he would give it to him after Park Sejun grew up. Seeing the message made Park Sejun confused why the tower manager didn't know about tower coins. He also became curious about the tower manager's age, but the tower manager replied that it was a secret. Then Park Sejun asked how many more years until he was declared an adult. The tower manager said that at least Park Sejun needed to be 300. Park Sejun was annoyed and angry because that meant his 7th-generation grandson was only then he could receive his quest prize. Then again, Park Sejun wasn't even in a state where he could make offspring right now. Park Sejun, who was annoyed, tried to calm himself by saying that he loses if he gets angry. Finally, he tried to prioritize what he could do for his survival now. First, the item that Park Sejun can buy is corn seeds. Corn wasn't a bad choice for him either. Corn is delicious to be boiled and grilled. She could also grind it into flour and make something like bread, though she wasn't sure if that would work. Therefore, Park Sejun chose to buy wax corn seeds. After buying waxy corn seeds, 0.5 tower coins were withdrawn from Park Sejun's seed bank account, and he earned 5 shop mileage seeds. The seed shop was closed, and Park Sejun could use the seed shop again in 30 days. A bag full of waxy corn seeds appeared in Park Sejun's hand. After taking out some seeds, Park Sejun asked what the farmer rabbits thought. He was sure the seed looked solid. The rabbits seemed to agree. Park Sejun also asked the rabbits to start working, but suddenly he changed his mind and asked them to eat something first. They also began to burn fish to eat. After cooking, they eat grilled fish with cherry tomatoes. Park Sejun and the rabbits felt very full. He felt that he should dry the rest of the fish and store it. After eating, Park Sejun greeted the honeybee who came. He then said that lately he spent a lot of time in this cave. Because of that, Park Sejun asked if it would be okay if he didn't come home. Since Honeybee didn't come home, Park Sejun was happy to welcome him here. Park Sejun thought that the bee was really cute. But suddenly, Honeybee and the other bunnies noticed the presence of something. Park Sejun also thought that a monster was attacking. But in a panic from my mouth, someone asked Park Sejun and his friends not to misunderstand, and said that he is not a shameless cat who came to steal their food. The black rabbit and Honeybee looked very alert, while the other rabbits looked scared. Park Sejun also asked why he came here. Upon being asked, the cat jumped in and stuck out his hand. The cat then asked if Park Sejun was a customer named Park Sejun. He then introduced himself as Theo, the peddler. In Park Sejun's diary, who got lost in the tower, he met the peddler's cat. The cat that suddenly appeared came and introduced himself as Theo, a peddler. Hearing his introduction, Park Sejun remembered that he had heard that sometimes when people went up the tower, they would meet peddlers. But he did not think that he was a cat. Park Sejun also saw Theo's 2 shiny eyeballs and soft chubby cheeks. Plus, he wanted Theo's springy palms to massage his face. Park Sejun really likes cats, so he feels very happy with Theo. Theo, who saw Park Sejun, was silent, also called him. Park Sejun finally answered that he really was Park Sejun and asked Theo what was wrong with him. Theo said that he had heard a new rookie had made a transaction at the seed shop. That's why he came here to meet and make a pact with Park Sejun. Park Sejun became curious and asked what he meant. As Park Sejun looked interested, Theo opened his pouch and said that he had a very good item. But suddenly there was the sound of Theo's stomach growling loudly. Theo also apologized because he hadn't eaten at all today and embarrassed himself in front of a customer. Seeing Theo like that, Park Sejun started to grin evilly. He then asked if Theo wanted to eat fried fish and offered it with a face that looked like a good person. Theo also looks very tempted by the fish. Park Sejun said that he didn't need to be embarrassed, but Theo refused and said that he shouldn't touch customer food. But Park Sejun insisted and said that the fish was really good. He kept teasing Theo to accept the fish, which made Theo drool. Finally, Theo accepted and ate Park Sejun's grilled fish. Theo, who was full, was now lying on the ground. Because Theo had eaten 5 fish, Park Sejun said that he must be very hungry. Theo was also very grateful because his customers even bothered to serve food for him. He then said that he didn't know what to thank. Park Sejun replied that it was okay. Instead, he said that he was the one thanking him because Theo had come all the way here to meet him. When Theo was about to discuss the agreement, suddenly Park Sejun asked Theo for 0.5 tower coins. Theo was so confused. Park Sejun then said that he should pay for the grilled fish he had eaten. Theo was surprised and asked if the fish wasn't free. Park Sejun then said that there is no such thing as free in this world. Because Theo said that he came here to make a deal, Park Sejun threatened that for sure Theo would not just leave after eating his customers' grilled fish. Around Theo, the rabbits that surrounded him looked threatening. Feeling that he had no choice, Theo gave Park Sejun 0.5 tower coins. Park Sejun and the rabbits were very happy because they got tower coins while Theo looked very gloomy. Theo, who was sad, thought that he came here to collect customers' money. But somehow it's the other way around. It's just a loss-making business for him. But he felt that he couldn't lose with just this. He was sure he would definitely sell all his things. Theo then showed various items and said that these were hit items from other floors. Seeing the item Theo was showing, Park Sejun asked if this was an item from outside the tower. Theo also explained that his tumbler had magic in it. That way he can store hot or cold items in it, and when he opens them again, the temperature of the items is still the same. And his mini fan has wind magic. If he overheats, just push the button and the wind will come out. Park Sejun also interrupted Theo's explanation. Theo asked what was wrong, and Park Sejun said that all the items he brought were trash. Theo was angry and asked what he was talking about. Theo is sure that these items come from outside the tower, and he is sure that he will lose because these items are very valuable. But Park Sejun said that he came from outside the tower. Theo was so surprised to hear that. Park Sejun then explained that there was no magic in the tumbler. The tumbler simply prevents heat transfer by blocking contact with the outside of the tumbler. Then he explained that if he kept the mini fan and hand warmer on all the time, then they would definitely die from running out of battery. Theo also said that Park Sejun must be lying. He said that Scarum said that in these items, there must be magic. A moment later, Theo's fan died running out of battery. Theo also beat his mini fan and told him to move. Park Sejun said that Theo must have been tricked by the rascal Scarum who sold these things to him. Theo became very gloomy, because he thought that Scarum was very good to him. Annoyed, Theo beat the ground and cursed Scarum as a damn goblin. Park Sejun, who saw Theo who was sad, was surprised to see Theo's accent changed, and added the word his at the end of each sentence. To calm Theo down, Park Sejun said that he should first tell what happened first. Theo began to tell his story. He was from the 75th floor. That floor was one of the neutral zones. He had always admired Meryl, the prettiest girl in the village of Granar. With a bouquet of fish, Theo confesses his love for Meryl and asks her out on a date. But Meryl rudely rejects Theo's bouquet of fish and knocks Theo's bouquet down. He also insulted that the fish smelled of cheap rice fish. Theo didn't understand why he was so mean to him, even though he had gone to great lengths to buy the fried rice fish. But Meryl just ignored it. A moment later, from behind Theo, there was a voice laughing at him and saying that he should have come to his senses. Theo, who heard the man's words, was shocked when he saw Oren, the son of the richest cat in the village, who came to insult him. Oren, who had just arrived in the suit, brought a large fish tied with a ribbon. Oren then said that Theo really had the heart to give a cheap rice fish to a woman. At least give him a high-quality salmon. Oren also gave the fish he brought to Meryl. Theo, who was furious, said that Meryl didn't like greasy food because he was afraid he would gain weight. But Meryl actually looked very stunned by the fish and said that the fish was very beautiful. Theo was very shocked to see him. Oren then laughs and invites Meryl to go over to his house and eat a salmon steak. Theo tries to stop them and catches Meryl's hand. He then asks if everything they lived together, their memories, is meaningless and just a lie. He also says that he can see the tears in her eyes and asks if Meryl dared to tell him about those unforgettable days. But Meryl slapped Theo's hand and asked what nonsense he was. Meryl tells him to stop dreaming. He later said that he only smiled at her a few times, and Theo became delirious from a distance. Theo continued to follow him even after Meryl told him he didn't like her. Meryl really felt annoyed with Theo. Meryl finally says that she really hates cats that smell like cheap rice fish like Theo. Theo became very shocked. As soon as Meryl leaves with Oren, the son of the richest cat in the village, Theo decides to go and become a traveling salesman in the belief that he will become rich so he can get revenge. Hearing Theo Park Sejun's story and the rabbits could only sweat hearing Theo's stupid story. Theo has even bought the license and equipment needed to become a traveling salesman, using his life savings of 50 tower coins. At first, Theo intended to buy something from other traveling merchants with his 5 tower coins and then resell it. But Scarum approached Theo, who was still a beginner, and introduced himself, then said if he had any questions, just ask him. Theo told him that items from outside the tower were valuable items, and he only told Theo. He said if Theo took this item to a higher floor, then he could make a lot of profit, because creatures from higher floors like collecting these items as a hobby. Theo asked him why he was selling him cheaply, and Scarum replied that he liked Theo's personality. He then said that if Theo didn't want it, he could sell it to another trader. Theo finally panicked and agreed to buy it. Since he was in a good mood, Skaram gave Theo a map. He said that it was a map with the location of the new user from the seed shop. Since they were new, Skaram said that Theo would be able to make big profits with them if he was lucky. Skaram finally left and told Theo to pay for the drinks this time, as he had already provided a lot of important information. Theo thanked him too. In the end, Theo gave his money to Skaram to buy all his items, hoping maybe he could sell these items until he fasted and almost died coming here. But Theo started to cry because all this stuff was trash. What's more, his customers even took all the remaining money he had. Park Sejun thought that Theo was really a pushover. As he was thinking, Park Sejun also remembered another way to get tower coins. Park Sejun also told Theo to calm down and relax while eating grilled fish. But Theo refused because he was sure that Park Sejun would order him to pay again. Park Sejun said that he would give the fish to him and told him to treat everything he ate earlier as a treat from him. But instead, Park Sejun asked him to work together. In Park Sejun's life diary, who got lost in the tower, he finally found a partner.